So a lot of people always use ChatGPT just to like write their emails, write other stuff, make presentations, write code, just get like basic answers for like math questions for their homework and stuff, just for it to help. But this new Gemini 3, Google's new AI model, maybe it has just passed ChatGPT and is more helpful, more useful, and just overall a better large language model. Well, let's dive into this video and get started. Since Google just released their Gemini 3, and it may be just a better version of ChatGPT, and this may have just killed ChatGPT. So let's get right into this video, since this is going to be a very, very, very exciting one. Now, in their new flagship AI Gemini 3, they have included like much better reasoning, much better coding abilities, and just much, much more. It's just a more intelligent large language model, and they're saying how it's much, much more improved, much better, and just overall a better LLM. So let's see how it compares to ChatGPT and what's new inside it. Now they have improved on their reasoning, coding, and just a lot more. And now it can go all the way up to 1 million tokens. And you can also just put videos, text, audio, code in just one big model. So that'll be more helpful. And you can use it in a lot of places. It's not just like ChatGPT. You can use it one place in your computer or on the app. While Gemini 3, it's obviously going to be integrated to like the new Pixel in some time. But you can also use it in just google.com when you're like searching something up. It will also pull up an AI that includes Gemini 3. Obviously, you can use it in the Gemini app along with just everyday moments with the Pixel. So if you have the Pixel phone, you can just use it like probably ask Gemini like you would ask Siri, and do a lot of other stuff. So a lot of people who have a Pixel will benefit from this a lot. And so far, Gemini 3 looks very, very good. It outperforms Gemini 2.5 on basically like every benchmark stat. So reasoning, coding, just audio, everything, it outperforms that. And also ChatGPT has a reasoning score of around 88%, while Gemini 3 scores around 91%. So you're not gonna obviously see it like score much better, but if you're gonna use it for a lot of tasks, a lot of different stuff, overall Gemini will do a lot better than ChatGPT. And other stats like just visual reasoning, multimodal, and just a lot of other stuff, Gemini does always get either in par or above ChatGPT. So far it's looking very, very promising. And just for pros and cons, Gemini 3 definitely leads on like visual, audio, just overall text reasoning, and just its ability to write and reason and do other stuff. It definitely leads on that. And it also does lead on more visual and multimodal reasoning and some scientific portions, and just it can get the facts right. While ChatGPT does have the upper hand on like stuff like coding and has very, very natural, stable conversations. So, and now I also want to do like a specs test. So like amount of tokens and some other stuff, actual like numbers. And just first off, the amount of tokens that you can put in, Gemini leads by a lot at 1 million, while ChatGPT only has 400,000. So you can input more data and more data and information to Gemini than you can do to like ChatGPT. And Gemini 3 is very multimodal. It can put in like native text, it can use audio, video, code, big PDFs and stuff. Well, ChatGPT can also do this, but not at Gemini's level. And now for ecosystem, obviously Gemini leads this a lot. They have it integrated into their app and then into their like phone as well, also into like docs, slides, spreadsheets, and along with Gmail. So obviously this is going to be a big factor, since if someone is writing an email and they don't want to switch tabs, like go to ChatGPT, go back and copy paste stuff, Gemini 3 will be built into Gmail, so you can just write an email in Gmail in the Gmail tab and then just copy paste, or it'll just be right there. So it's going to be a big factor for people. While ChatGPT is obviously integrated, but not as much. It's integrated into some apps and obviously in their own app and their own website, but definitely less than Gemini. Now for price, Gemini is a bit more expensive and costs a little bit more per token, but obviously you can input more text, input more data, and it can also output more than ChatGPT, so it earns its keep and it can just give you more concise, better data. And now here's the most important segment. which one should you use? Well, obviously it depends. And if you're also like integrated into Google's ecosystem, you have a Pixel, you always use Google Docs, Google Gmail, like Slides, then obviously you're gonna use Google's Gemini 3, since obviously you're already integrated into a lot of these, so you're gonna want to like use Gemini 3 along with Docs and Gmail and everything you're already using. And also, if you have a lot of work and just maybe it's a little bit messy and you want to organize that and stuff, Gemini can help with that, since it can take in more data and more information than ChatGPT. But you're going to want to use ChatGPT if you want like smaller and less data, less information. And if you want like coding, ChatGPT leads way better than Gemini in coding. And if you're already integrated into like Microsoft stuff, since a lot of Microsoft products do use OpenAI and ChatGPT, well, then you should probably use ChatGPT. But definitely, this is not a winner takes all scenario, since both these AIs have their own strengths and their own weaknesses. So that's it for today's video. It definitely depends on what you should use, but Gemini 3 is looking very promising and a lot of details. But ChatGPT is also very, very good in a few specific ones, and that sums it up. If you're already integrated into like Google stuff, Google Docs, just Google Drive in general, then you're probably going to want to use Gemini. But if you're like pretty controversial and you don't know what to do, but you need a lot of coding and a lot of precise work, then maybe go for ChatGPT. But that's it for today's video, and I'll see you next one. Bye for now. YouTube Pro out.